as I said, I want to talk a little bit about why the Jehovah cannot be the name of the Lord, okay? And I'll start with few basic things, and then I'll get into Ketiv and Qere and why and how it is related to what I'm trying to say here. So first of all, let's start with the suggestion that some people pronounce Jehovah, like Jehovah Witnesses. Again, I don't know. They don't know condors in Israel, so I don't have that experience that some of you might have in the U.S. Very classical, knocking on your door and stuff like that. We don't have that. Obviously, the J, like J sound, okay, is not in the Semitic languages, not in Hebrew, not in other cognates of the Hebrew. So the pronunciation of J, Jehovah, is obviously immediately off the table. Okay. What about though the Y? Okay. Yehovah. Okay, so also the V sound for the Vav is not the original sound. So the original sound for the Vav is more like a W, Wah. We see that by all kinds of reasons, basically comparison to other Semitic languages, as well as the phonetic stipulations that go with that consonant. The fact that the Vav, for instance, is used as a reading mother. If the pronunciation of the Vav originally would be a V, it would not turn into a vowel letter because it is not close to being a vowel. Okay, the letters that were chosen, so to speak, to represent vowels, the Vav and the Yod, are chosen to represent vowels because they are glides. Okay, they are consonants that almost sound as vowels, that they have they are closer to vowels as far as consonants go. There are different levels of sonority, okay, and that is the difference between the pressure inside the mouth and outside the mouth when pronouncing these consonants. And the lowest difference of pressure between the inner part of the mouth and outside the mouth is what we call the highest level of sonority, okay? The lower the difference of the pressure from what happens inside your mouth and what happens in the room around you, the higher the level of sonority. So think of consonants, okay, or vowels. So vowels have no difference of pressure essentially between what happens inside your mouth and outside your mouth. You say ah, and the air flows, no difference. Take the other end of the scale, for instance. If you say b, you can feel the difference between the pressure b inside your mouth and the pressure outside your mouth. Okay, so even to the extent that that pressure starts swallowing your face until you explode. It's right. So that's low level of sonority. Glides, those consonants that are closer to vowels, they have high level of sonority. They are close to being vowels, and this is why the Vav and the Yod do serve later on as vowel letters. So the original pronunciation could not have been a V, but more like a Wa. So just a second, maybe Yehovah, okay? No, that is also not the pronunciation of the name of the Lord God of Israel. And here I'm getting a little bit into the phenomenon of Ketiv and Qere, okay? Ketiv and Qere is the way a word is written. Ketiv, that's an Aramaic passive participle, written in Aramaic, Ketiv. I'll write it in Hebrew as well, or Aramaic, really. Ketiv. And we have Qere. Okay, Ketiv, Qere. Qere could either be read or read, either read or read, and that's Qere.
When you say read, you mean pronunciation, right?
Yeah, read aloud. Read
If
aloud.
if we read silently, that's not.
No, you when in Hebrew or in the ancient world, the root cofillation aleph, as you note, means call or read, because you read aloud.
Okay.
You read as you call. You don't read solemnly as you do in a library.
Yeah.
The very big difference between the Hebrew and Jewish culture and the like European tradition. You go to a library, you have to keep silent. You have to keep quiet. Have you ever been to a Beit Midrash? Have you ever been to a yeshiva, guys? No. So
Only seen pictures.
you've seen pictures, right?
Yeah, everybody's talking and reading, and yes,
Talking, reading, arguing,
yes.
sometimes very loud, and it creates such a kind of a white noise, and you can concentrate on your partner and the studying that you do together, what we call chavruta, which is literally friendship. Okay, the word for studying together is the same word for friendship in Aramaic. Okay, chavruta, and that is how you learn. You study, you debate, you discuss in a kind of a Socratic way. Okay, asking questions, suggesting an idea. The Talmudic thinking is very Socratic in its thinking, right? You present an idea, an opinion, and you start questioning. Okay, how can that correspond with other concepts we know to be basic, more basic or earlier, and so forth and so on? A fascinating experience. Try to get into a yeshiva or a bet midrash when you visit Israel, but you have those in America as well. Depends where, but you can find, and you'll see that people are sitting and not quietly, they're talking, debating, arguing, you know.
So
So
somebody
There was a
is
film here.
Hmm?
Sorry.
if somebody is reading silently to themselves, are they considered to be unsocial? Is there a word for it in Aramaic if they do that?
I want to say again, the tractates of the ethics of our fathers says that even if you learn alone, God is giving you reward. It's not that you know, the tractate of the ethics of our fathers says that 10 people of Israel that are studying together, God is with them, and then even 5, and even 3, and even 2, and even 1. Okay, and there is a verse for each of these. Okay, explaining how God is present when in all of these cases. And for the one, it says bechol hamakom asher azkir et shemi avo elecha uverachticha. In every place that my name is mentioned, I will come and I will bless you. Right? That's the verse for one person, right? Who is invoking God's name. Even there, I will come and I will bless you. Exodus 20:24. Now, so you can be, you know, just the one person, and it's still okay to learn. Going back to our discussion of why then Yehovah cannot be the pronunciation of the name of the Lord God of Israel. And that is related to the concept of what we said, the Ketiv and the Qere. Sometimes in Hebrew, in the Hebrew Bible, the Ketiv, the way words are written, is different than the Qere, the way words are read. Okay? The Masoretic text has a very interesting system of marking the differences between the Ketiv and the Qere. The tradition of the Ketiv is how you should write the Bible. What are the letters that should be written? And you don't mess with it. You keep it as it is. But whenever the reading is different than the writing, I know, and here comes the crazy part. I know it's a little bit, no, it's a quite surprising way. You add the vowel pointing of the word you should read to the letters of the word that is written. Let's say, I'll give you an example. Let's go. Let's be creative about it. Okay. Let's say I want to the written tradition, right? The Ketiv has the name Gary. Okay, Gimel, Resh, and Yod. Okay. Are you with me so far?
Yes.
Yes.
But the red version, I know I should read it as Shaul. Okay? Not as Gary. The tradition is that I should read it as Shaul. Then the text itself would put not the like Gary, the text would put the vowels of the name Shaul, okay, let's say like this, okay, not exactly like this, but the text would add the vowels of the red version to the consonants of the written version. In the margin, on the side, it would have a kof standing for Qere, and it would say Shaul. Okay, it would add, or either like this, or, okay, it would write the word that it should be read, the consonants of that word. The vowel pointing will be inside. The consonant will be here. Okay. Let's take another example. Okay, let's say the written version is John. Okay, the red version is Lynn. Okay, so the letters inside, obviously we don't have a J in biblical Hebrew. We started with that, the fact that we don't have that J, right? But we'll add a Gimel with an apostrophe. That's what we do in modern Hebrew. So that's the J for John, let's say with a final nun. But as we said, the red version is that we should read it Lynn, not John. So what would be the vowel pointing under the Gimel that you would find? What would be the vowel pointing here?
Chirik.
Chirik, very good, Lynn. Okay, and in the margins, you would find a kof, stand for Qere, and then you would find the consonants for Lin. Okay, that's the system. I know it's not the most intuitive system. Okay, I know I didn't create it, so don't complain to me if you had any plans of doing it. We have to deal with what we have. Okay, so that's the system. How is that related to our concept? I'm building the next level. Now we understand the system. Is there anyone who did not understand the system? It's not a problem. I'll explain it. I'll give another example.
Is that why I thought I saw this? Remember, I asked this before of you some time ago. That I see the name of God. Then every once in a while I'll see the Tetragrammaton. Then I'll see the word Adonai next to it. And in that case,
we're getting
sometimes
excellent.
getting there.
Yes. Yeah,
Okay.
we're getting there. We're getting
Okay.
there. Very good, Ron. Excellent. That's exactly where I'm going. Okay. But I'm building it gradually. So
Okay.
we're in the second level. You're already asking about level 4, and that's wonderful. We'll get there. Promise. Okay. So next level is what we call Qere perpetuum. Perpetuum. And why in Latin? So you'll know I'm smart, not just good looking. Okay. But really it means perpetual Qere. Yeah, it means something that you always read differently than how it is written. Okay, guys, I know I enjoy these. I enjoy these hours as much as you do, maybe more. They asked Rabbi Lord Jonathan Sachs if he prefers the House of Lords or the House of the Lord. Okay, because he was both a lord and a rabbi, and he said, obviously I prefer the House of the Lord better. And you know why? They asked him why, and he said, because in the House of the Lord I am the only one who gets to speak. In the House of Lords I have to listen to others. Okay. Anyway, there are certain words that have a Qere perpetuum, a perpetual Qere. For instance, I'll give you an example. I'll write a word on screen, and I know you know how to read this word. I'll write it as it is written in the Bible. Okay, how do you read this word, guys?
Jerusalem.
Yerushalayim. Right, Gary. But you don't have that yod here. Why did you read it Yerushalayim? This is a case of a perpetual Qere. You don't have to have the remark here in the margin that says, I know it says Yerushalem, but read it Yerushalayim with a yod. No need for this, because we know every time we have the name of this town, this city, Yerushalayim, which will be honored by the presence of Angie next month, right? We'll be blessed. Okay, so every time we have the word Yerushalayim, it is read Yerushalayim. You don't have that marginal remark, marginal note that tells you it has to be read like this. Yes, Rose?
In one of my classes, I was told that when the yud isn't there, that was the Aramaic version. And when the yud was there, that was the Hebrew version.
Okay, I'm not, first of all, you should take it with that teacher, but just a second, there is a grain of truth there. I don't know what they meant. It is correct that not in all languages it is pronounced Yerushalayim. Okay, in Aramaic, Yerushalem. Okay, without a yod. But it doesn't mean necessarily. It is not directly related to our discussion. Okay, and I'm planning, by the way, to do maybe a mini course about why Jerusalem is called Jerusalem. And every time I'm going to see a tourist in Jerusalem, I'm going to give them maybe like a barcode, a QR code to that. You want to know why Jerusalem is called Jerusalem? Go scan this or something. That's my plan to do one day. But it is not directly related to our discussion. In Hebrew, let's say, never mind how the name of this city is pronounced in Akkadian, Aramaic, Arabic, aside for a second, in Hebrew it is pronounced Yerushalayim, and it is written without a yod, almost always in the Bible. So it's a perpetual Qere. Every time we have the name of the town, of the city Yerushalayim, it is written without a yod, and we know we have to read it with a yod. Even though we don't have that explicit Qere note on the margin. So far, everybody is with me about what is a perpetual Qere?
Yes.
Excellent, very good. Now, finally getting to the name of the Lord, okay? So the name of the Lord consists of the letters Yod, Hey, Vav, and Hey, okay? These are the 4 letters of the Tetragrammaton, the name of 4 letters. That's the meaning of the word Tetragrammaton, okay? And the vowel pointing that we see in the Bible most commonly is a Sheva here and a Kamatz here. Okay, this is what led people to pronounce the Lord's name as Yeh, because they saw a Yod with a Sheva, the Hey either with a Cholem, okay, Yeh, Ho, and then Va or Wa, never mind, let's give them like the benefit, let's say Wa, okay, Yeho, Wa, okay. But the reason we have that vowel pointing is because of that phenomenon that we've established called Qere perpetuum or Perpetual Qere, depending how condescending you want to be. Okay, so you choose English or Latin according to the level of now. Okay, so remember the name of the Lord. The vowel pointing here represents the way we pronounce it, which is Aleph, Daled, Nun, and Yod. The Sheva is the equivalent of the reduced Patach. Remember, under a guttural letter, the Sheva turns into a reduced vowel. The Cholem is the Cholem of the Daled, and the Kamatz is the Kamatz of the Nun. Adonai. My lords, okay, my lord, my lords, okay, this is the way the traditional Jewish pronunciation of the Lord's name is, because we don't have the original pronunciation. And that led people to pronounce it as Ye, Ho, and Va, or Wa, okay, because they did not understand the phenomenon of Qere perpetuum, or Perpetual Qere. Now I'm going to what Ron said. Finally, Ron, you see how much time it took us to get to what you were alluding to before. So let me show you how you can better understand that what I'm saying is not just, how can I demonstrate what I'm saying? And let me put on screen for that.
I saw Genesis 15:2.
Yeah, Genesis 15:2. I'll put Genesis 15:2. Though we can put other examples as well. This is just one example. Okay. Okay. So let's see Genesis 15:2. I am showing you the manuscript of the Codex Leningradensis. The Leningrad Codex, okay. The name of the city is preserved only in this manuscript because the city is no longer called Leningrad, right? This is the city of St. Petersburg, and some Jews avoid saying Sankt because that's holy. So you would see some, especially Chabad, among the Chabad Hasidic group, they would call the city Peterburg without the Sankt before it. So instead of St. Petersburg, they would say just Peterburg. Anyway, so that name of the city, Leningrad, and I brought it because here we have the name of the Lord, okay, but without kamat. Without a kamatz here. Here we see a reduced segol and a chirik. A reduced segol and a chirik. How should we read this?
Is that Elohim?
Elohim, right. It comes directly after the word Adonai. So in this combination, Adonai, Elohim, and you can see that the vowel pointing here is the vowel pointing that you would have under the Aleph of Elohim and under the Hey of Elohim. And again, it's a Qere perpetuum because every time you've got Adonai, Elohim like this, the second one would be pronounced Elohim. So instead of having Elohim, okay, we have the vowel pointing of the word Elohim under the letters Yod, Hey, Vav, and Hey. And exactly as the pronunciation of the Lord's name is not Yeh, we, or Yehwi, or Yevi, or Yehovi, or whatever, it is not Yehovah or Va, okay? Because, and nobody of the, nobody that claims the pronunciation of the Lord's name is Yeho and Wa or Va, or Jeho and Va or Wa, or whatever, claims that sometimes the pronunciation is Yeho and V or we, right? It's the same system, the same concept, different application of it. And this is, I think, quite definitively explains why we have that vowel pointing of kamatz and Sheva and a kamatz under the Lord's name. I should say that just theoretically, like mathematically, logically speaking, the fact that I can very well explain for another why we have this vowel pointing under the letters of the Lord's name and how it doesn't mean that this is the way the Lord's name was pronounced is not logically or mathematically excluding the theoretical possibility that so it happens to be that the original pronunciation of the Lord's name was exactly like the vowel pointing that would be there according to the system of the Ketiv and Qere. It just makes it highly, highly unlikely. It's not mathematically ruling it out. Right, Gary? You're the math person here.
Yeah, anything you say.
All right, thank you very much. 2 + 2 = 5. No, but I could get into why it is not, but it really is a whole bigger discussion. I was just dealing with like the making it very, very, very highly unlikely to be. I have not conclusively, again, remember that we are still in the humanities, but as far as the humanities goes, it's very hard to maintain the opinion that this is the pronunciation of the Lord's name.